Hello. Hi, it's John. I'm driving my motorhome and I'm going to answer a question today about ET contact. Let me flip you around. So you've been posting your questions, and this is now my third driving video today. I'm driving for somewhere around the region of 3.5 to 4 hours. I have about another hour and 30 minutes left. I've not stopped. I don't need Patch isn't with me. Oh, I miss him already. So I don't need to stop to give him a bio break or anything. So just keeping going. We're on the way to Aberdeen from where I live. So we're kind of on southeast coast Scotland all the way up to northeast coast. Scotland's not that big, right? Depending on where you drive, I suspect. So I think I was only like 30 miles away from Aberdeen. Certainly the kind of one of the largest, most northerly cities. Most of the population of Scotland are down in the central belt, down to the south of Scotland and Edinburgh and Glasgow. So I'm up much further north on the east coast. It's been a very smooth drive. Lots of roadworks, but they've been smooth. And I'm glad they're doing the roadworks. A lot of these roads really need it. And I intend to use these roads for many years. It's quiet now, isn't it? Look, it's just on camera it looks even quieter. So I picked a question randomly before I started the video. It is a question that I've answered in part before, or should I say, and what I love about these driving videos is there's no pressure, I can go on forever, and I find them very expansive. I feel also like getting out of the energy of my hometown, being in a different place, in this case driving a lot, is fantastic. And I love it because it's like you're sat next to me. Except you just asked me one question and I spend an hour answering it. I don't know, maybe you'd enjoy that. Let me know in the comments. Okay, so this question is from Let It Go -D, and I'm sure you've posted quite a few questions, so thank you. I only, answer one at a time, or should I say, I only have allow you to have one active at a time, so that everyone's fair when I randomly pick these. But please keep your questions coming, and when I answer one, feel free to post another. What does the sign say? It says A90 closed after A948 Ellen. It's funny, on camera it looks like a gazillion miles away. You're probably thinking, wow, John must have eyesight of an eagle. I certainly used to. So your question, as I hinted at earlier, so we're going to A90 North Inverness shortly, taking a slip road to A90 North. So we're kind of heading away from the east coast. Here. Wow. Here's a giant slip road. That's what threw me off a bit. I'll get to your question in a minute. Oh, my apologies, I forgot I was eating a sweet. You guys are probably like, what are those funny noises? Don't worry, it's done. I was eating a driving sweet, a boiled sweet. I don't eat many sweets. except when I drive. And even then I've been pretty good, to be honest. Okay. So let it go -D. You said, and I love your question. It says, how and when will ET contact occur? Good sir? Question mark. What a beautiful question. Thank you, Let It Go D. So I have answered this at a high level quite a few times. I haven't gone into loads of detail. The first thing I'd say is that ET contact has already happened with some humans. And the ET contact at the largest scale has happened with the governments, world leaders, militaries, and in some pockets science explorations with extraterrestrials. And so that question would then shift from contact to disclosure, you know, and there's a whole thing about disclosure, right? You can watch a lot about it on YouTube, and I feel that the challenge, if you like, or the predicament of how we've ended up in a situation as a human race where some of us have contacts with ETs, and those people are hiding that truth from the masses of humanity. And not just hiding it, right? They are actively seeking out whistleblowers and experiencers and have been silencing them for decades. I do not agree with that, and I feel really sad that we as humanity, we've allowed ourselves to end up with a situation where a minority of often very rich and powerful people are breaching our free will. And even though we're actively saying we want to know what's out there, we want to know what's happening in our skies and under our oceans, we want to know what you know, it's not, the truth isn't being fully shared yet. In fact, so much so that our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters who have given these very people, the minority, elite and rich, if you like, those in power, some lovely clouds out there, even though they've given them multiple warnings and opportunities to come clean and disclose, fully disclose, they're basically saying it's not enough, guys. Like you're not keeping to your bargain. And so on the whole, our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters are unhappy with the lack of disclosure and lack of transparency. Because let's face it, it's one of the biggest things that will ever happen to humanity is contact with our galactic brothers and sisters, our extraterrestrial family. And so hiding that from us is huge. And if those in power are willing to hide that, one of the biggest things in our history, from us, what else are they doing? And I think we have a pretty good idea about some of the stuff they may be up to, right? Including the recent news with Prince Andrew and Epstein files. You know, there's the very fact that people in law enforcement have the files. It is shocking, right? It's shocking that they exist at all, and that they have the written testimonies of the abused, and yet this is not being shared. So our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters, you know, have decided to take matters in their own hands. Now, there are many factors in what I describe as, instead of kind of top down, if you like, instead of taking our world's human created hierarchies and saying, you know, oh, you must talk to the, you know, this kind of thing. We always have this thing, take me to your leader, right? Like, not every extraterrestrial race has hierarchies. We very much have hierarchies in our societies, you know, most of them, or at least certainly in the West. So we're really invited to understand that this is more of a kind of a bottom up, or let's just face it, like, everyone is equal, right? So our extraterrestrial family are now contacting each of us. Like, we all get an opportunity to connect. Now, there's a few conditions, right, that they obey, and I can describe this as far as my journey has been and my experiences. And I describe, you know, it's probably helpful to describe it in the physical, because you may be able to relate to that more, and then I can go on to the metaphysical more. So let's pretend for a moment that John isn't a professional spiritual psychic mentor. All right? So let's pretend that for a moment. Let's just say I'm John, who still works in software, but I have a very keen interest in, hang on, the GPS is going to shout to me. Oh, it's not too bad. Okay, straight on for a long time. Got you. Looks like you're going another hour driving up to 11 p.m. So let's imagine, which I feel is true, that all humans, in fact all living things, are equal. And so when ETs want to make contact, so this is really answering to the question of how, because the when is now. The contact's already happening. And simply, I think these two cars in front are racing by the looks of it. So what's happening is the contact has already begun, and in particular with those who choose it, right? And personally, and this goes way back before my, this goes back to about something like 2002 maybe, 2003, just after YouTube was born. I began, no, well, that's not true. Actually, when I was a teenager, I used to read magazines about UFOs. And then when YouTube turned up, I started watching UFO videos. And I became what I would describe as entrenched in truther, you know, truth-seeking activity. And I was obsessed. You know, I was like Neo looking for the Matrix. And some points because I used to work in digital CCTV, for digital CCTV manufacturers, so I'd set up like digital cameras even back 25 years ago. 20 years ago and filmed some clips of night sky. Some of those are still on YouTube, and they're stunning to watch. You know, they are skies filled with activity, just like we see today. And I'm glad I took those. Although I think I called the videos, like, I was too scared of calling them UFOs, so I called them like planes ? And so I was already really keen. You know, it's so fascinating, right? Because if you want to make contact with ETs, right, don't watch YouTube, right? Because even if they are there, they'll be pretending to be humans on YouTube, right? Oh, we're going really slow now. It's a big steep hill. So the best thing to do is to look at the skies, right? Because that's where they live. They live up in the sky, or at least it's a sky to us, right? The reality is it's we're just looking out into a vast, seemingly what feels like an eternal, infinite universe. And our universe is teeming with life. So if you want to start building a relationship with ETs, start looking to the skies day and night. And if you want to know what to look for, I would say look for something strange is happening with my drinks holder. I can't find it. There it is. I would suggest, a bit like I am just now, look for the unusual shaped clouds, colours, moving objects, still objects, and not just with your mind, right? Not just with you know, try not to just look at stuff and constantly, immediately categorize it. Oh, that's a plane. Oh, that's a cloud. You know, just allow yourself to experience a bit of the magic. Like, what's different about that thing that I'm looking at? Just allow it to be, before you categorize and judge it and label it or get scared about it. Just allow whatever you experience just to be. You know, I'm sure I might not be able to get this saying correctly, but I came up with this the other week, right, which was something along the lines of, sometimes clouds are shaped like ships, and sometimes ships are shaped like clouds. Or sometimes clouds, look like ships, sometimes ships pretend to be clouds. It's like, it's absolutely true, right? And if you were an extraterrestrial race and you could jump through space and time and travel through fifth and fourth dimension, kind of like a hyperspeed, and visit Earth whenever you wanted to, including in physical or some people call it like spirit form, which is in fourth dimension and above. It's more energy than physical, but they can drop in and out of third and fourth. That they would just do it, and they'd turn up, and they wouldn't want to freak us out, right? Because our ET family, like, they know what happens when they freak us out. We get scared, our heart chakra closes, and we tense up, and the experience is ruined, right? So, and they know this well because some extraterrestrial races, such as including the Greys, but others too, have been engaging in what we call abductions, right? Even, and we'd call it abduction even when our soul has agreed to some of these experiences, but they can be very fearful experiences. And also, a bit like our spirit guides, extraterrestrials aren't always amazing at understanding a human's needs and what freaks them out. A lot of us are being programmed to, by our own governments and rich elite of this planet, to fear small beings with big eyes, right? So you need a lot of love and compassion when you work with humans, when you make contact. So my experiences have been that the more you say yes to the experience, because contact is happening as we speak, and as my dear friend UFO Girly, Sarah UFO Girly, I'm actually going on her Instagram live stream next week. As she says, we are the disclosure, we are the contact, and it's absolutely true. And if you want a loving, exciting, fun interaction with extraterrestrials, then you have to start that with a nice, big, open heart. Step out of your fear and say out loud. Now, this is the way I started. I said, spirit guides, and most of my spirit guides are from different planets. I said, spirit guides, I am open to receiving contact, including physical contact, face-to-face contact, with my extraterrestrial brothers and sisters who serve my highest good, or you could say have the highest good of all in their hearts. And that's so powerful, right? And feel it, when you're looking at a night sky and you're looking at the stars. I don't know if you can see any of them on camera. They are above us for sure tonight. When you're looking up, you can feel your heart's nice and wide and open. You're feeling love. You're looking into this expanse of a universe teeming with life, and your attitude about how you face that the emotion, the most dominant emotion that you have, like if you're feeling in love and in excitement and encouragement, this is the universal language of love, right? So you can literally, you're talking to the universe, these extraterrestrials, a lot of them very physically close in our skies and in our orbit. You're saying, I'm good, like I'm a human that is ready with an open heart to connect with you, and I'm not going to totally freak out and close down and just kind of waste your time because I'm in fear and run away screaming. So these are really important fundamental principles to be able to achieve. You is watching this, being able to achieve contact. Other things are a huge help. All the ascension things, facing your fears, releasing your shadows, conscious consumption of food, drink, what you watch online, who you connect with, the work you do. Like, what is the most dominant emotion that you have throughout the day? Are you in fear and lack and scarcity and a kind of slavery and victim mentality, or are you happy, joyful, in unconditional love and gratitude? The latter are higher vibration emotions, and they will position you to being more attractive to, and I'm not saying this is a kind of dating, or it's not an ET dating app or dating video, but that's what you're really doing. You're starting to realize that having a vibration, an emotional state closer to that of your extraterrestrial family makes it much, much easier to connect with them, right? Of course it is. And I remember, like, early on, I remember years ago having this intuition. I guess you described that, because I felt like that before my awakening in November 2017. Is I used to feel like for a and the 2 miles take the exit. Alright, I'm not really sure what the exit is. But it's in 2 miles. It just says take the exit on the GPS as well. What good fun. I often felt like aliens would have to get drunk, right? They'd have to drink, like, it was almost like they had to drink a lot of alcohol just to come down to our level. And that kind of disturbed me a bit, because it made me realize, wow, you've got to, like, you can only see me drunk. And the answer was yes. It's like, we have to be, to get to your vibration. And, you know, frankly speaking, before my awakening, I spent a lot of time being drunk. I was drinking every day, and often quite a lot. I would describe myself as a high-functioning alcoholic back then. And so you really don't want to have to ask your extraterrestrials or any being to come down to your level, or if they have to, come down as little as possible. And for you, is this the turn off here? Oh, it's half a mile, 7 mile, probably is. I'm sure it'll tell me like last minute. Yeah, I think this must be it. You can't see it. Yeah, half a mile. Taking the exits. We all love the exits. So the higher your vibration, the easier it is for the contact to occur. I've seen quite a few, you know, UFOs, UAPs, like things I can't explain. So continue straight on here. You know, ships. This was, and a lot of it was before drones, right? Or we, you know, certainly drones were kind of made public, and so there'd be. So which way this? Oh no, not that way. That's to the harbour. Let's go around a nice big circle. Hey, you enjoying this nice roundabout? Not to Goldville Farm Cottages. Here we go. Oh, the roads are getting smaller now. And the A947. Wow, we're going really off-road now. Why do I get the impression this last hour will be, the last 40 minutes will be a big adventure? Because it is a big adventure. I think I'm going left here. Red light, green light. Oh, what happens here? Oh, we just get to turn left. That's a funny giant triangle open space in the road. Yeah, I saw a lot of, I don't know, I'd guess maybe 8 different, like, over the years, and this is before my more recent interactions, which feel like they're almost every day. But yeah, let's just say prior to November 2017 in my awakening, I'd seen about 8 UFOs, and they were often small craft. I think the first I saw, I was in first year. I must have been about first year of high school, so must have been at 11 or 12 years old. And I remember it hovering next to a cloud. It was quite a dark object, and that was fascinating to witness. And it just hung there. And I remember, like, I think I told my brother to come and take a look, but we didn't have digital cameras back then, right? It was a long time ago. But yeah, small craft, some moving fast, some during the day, some moving vertically up and down, some moving across the sky, and so on. I'd also been blessed especially I'd done a lot of sailing and I saw a lot of shooting stars. So I was very used to looking at stars, seeing shooting stars, knowing the difference between a UFO and a shooting star, etc. Or so I think. So that was fine. And so then after I've been doing this psychic work for a couple of years, so this is going into 2019, I visited the East Seti Ranch in Portland on the northwest coast of the US, and I was there for a few days, and I saw what I can only describe. I mean, you can look up Jon Binnie, just go into YouTube and go to Jon Binnie E Seti, which is ECETI, and there's the raw footage video. I think it's about an hour of footage, and with the best camera I think I had in 2019, and there's just a lot of UFOs flying around, and us being really impressed and going ooh and ah. There's a crowd of us watching them, and it was an incredibly magical experience. So then after that, and it felt very playful. It felt like, hey, look at us, we're in ships, you know, they felt very fourth dimensional. They were coming out of Mount Adams, Mount Adam, and it was just a truly magical experience. So there was that, and then there was the about 2 years later, I think it's 2021, or no, it was just before the lockdowns, 2020. I saw in person and pretty up close the Galactic Federation ship, what I now know to be the Galactic Federation ship Athena. She turned up in my morning run in the sky, and it wasn't for that long. She traveled from east to west. No, sorry, from west to east. She's a giant ship. She did visit other people I know, other friends I know, and she said this publicly, so it's okay for me to share. She said on YouTube Live, but Fascinating Fairy, it turns out I feel she also saw it at a similar time frame, and she described it as a cruise ship in the sky, and I think that's a very accurate way of describing it. It's the only similar experience I've seen is seeing so many lights. And there is just huge 5 moons in length. So if you imagine 5 full moons in the sky, and a kind of almost an oval, I'd say oval more than it was a cylinder shape. And yeah, that was I was crying when I saw it. I had no camera, but Patch the dog was with me. Patch definitely saw it as well. We stopped for a moment, and I just stared as this ship passed really quite close in front of us. And afterwards I just asked, in meditation, I asked my spirit guides who it was, and they said it was them. They said it was my spirit guides. And they said they went to a huge effort to come into the atmosphere. They said it's very risky for them to do it, that it causes a lot of disruption, and that they're absolutely noticed. So there's a lot of, you know, I felt very humbled by them, and all these windows, the kind of windows of the cruise ship, if you like. The reason they had all these lights on is because they had a light on for every kind of group of extraterrestrials, and they're all looking at me and waving at me, and that was why my immediate, although I couldn't see them physically doing that, all the lights were on, which is really unusual for any kind of ship to have all its lights on at night. And it was traveling at a good speed. It did take a good few seconds to get across the sky, but it was definitely going at a good speed. And that was why my reaction was crying. I just felt overwhelmed, and it was because they're all sending me love. So these are like a lot. It felt like thousands of very high vibration beings on that ship in physical form sending me love energy, and I was just like crying with joy. It felt very compulsive, like I had no control over my eyes. So you might think, so what, John? You've seen a bunch of lights, done a lot of research on YouTube. I'd say all of these were precursor events to helping, in part, this goes two ways, right? One is oh, by the way, I was shouting a few things at the ship as it went by. I think I was saying things like saying hello, hello, and I was saying, who are you? Where are you from? Are you human? And as I started to cry, I remember saying, I love you, I love you. And it's those moments that extraterrestrials are looking for, right? If I had turned around and run the other way, or if my heart had closed up and I was just, just too much for me, like whatever it was, whatever my reaction was, they were watching, right? They were really interested in how I was reacting, including this loving energy, this overflowing love energy, how I would react to it, which is their very high vibrational love. And it hits you right at the top of your heart, and it feels like you just want to grow a bigger heart and have more capacity for joy. It's just incredible to receive. So do know that these are the things, the indicators that they're looking for in you as they choose to build a relationship with you. And then I would say the next thing has been, following guidance. So listening to my intuition, following my spirit guides. And I remember, when did I even buy this? This goes back earlier this year, when I paid for a £1,000 night vision camera. My guides just kept going on about it, and I was like, it's £1,000, guys. Like, what if it's no good? What if it doesn't work very well? What if? And they just said, John, you're just not going to regret this. You're going to be able to perceive far more in your skies than you can alone with the naked eye. And as I understand it, the way the Psionics Aurora Pro predominantly works, other than its ability to see into infrared and broader frequencies, it's also incredibly good at picking up so little light, right? You can have a vehicle on the ground and its light reflecting up to the cloud in the sky above it, and you just can't see it with the naked eye, but you can see it with this camera. And I'm like, whoa, that's incredible. It just takes every available light. It does need light, right? If it's totally pitch black, you won't see anything at all. But stars, you might look up to the sky and see 5 stars with the naked eye, and then you bring out your camera and suddenly you can see 500, right? And you're like, whoa. And it's just because the stars are already there. They're just light is too dim, or that in a combination of your brain is like filtering out quite a lot. So these are definitely strong factors to be aware of. So I feel that this is where the fun part really happens. And that is starting to build an actual relationship, a friendship with extraterrestrials. And just like any good friendship, any good relationship, you know, there's ups and downs. There's sometimes you see each other, you see a lot of each other, you see too much of each other. Sometimes there's breaks and you don't see each other for a while. And now, almost every day, it probably is every day now. Certainly during the week, I take my night vision camera running in the morning, and I have my eyes to the skies, especially now it's dark enough, because I was a bit disappointed in the summer there wasn't enough there wasn't enough darkness. There was too much light. So yeah, it's been such fun to now every day look to the sky with my eyes, just as I normally do, my first two eyes, and then start to, you know, ask my extraterrestrial brothers and sisters to show themselves, show me a sign, you know, please do show up, say hello. You don't need to travel to like some, you know, special location to, like, it's all the same sky, right? It's all the same universe. This planet does rotate, right? You can you can do this at home. All you need is, if you want to look at stars and the orbs and all these things that you see in my videos, you will need a place with little to no cloud cover. However, as we know, these sightings are not limited to cloudless nights, right? They happen during the daytime, under the clouds, at nighttime, under the clouds, so that they'll come down and see you, right? So all you need to do is look at the clouds with an open heart. And even more importantly than inviting them in and seeing and experiencing something unusual, some kind of phenomena, not being too judgy about it, not being scared about it, is gratitude, right? So as soon as something happens and you experience something, say thank you so much. It's beautiful. Now, if you want to know who's a master at this, if you watch Sarah UFO Girly she's on YouTube, TikTok and Instagram, she so incredibly, and I can only describe this as in her energy, is her gratitude is just beautiful. And that's the word you often hear her say. She says, beautiful, thank you so much. And you might think, you know, oh, maybe she's going over the top a bit. Like, no, not at all. Like, remember, it's not the words. They're not listening to the things that you're saying. Not really. They're listening to your heart. So the more you can feel something, and you can do that yourself, like say, I love you, I really love, and you can feel that energy coming up in your heart and raising up in vibration. So yeah, just really encouraging you to extend your gratitude to any experiences you have. And even when nothing happens, this is just like talking to spirit guides, right? Even when nothing happens, just say thank you, I love you. Because remember, your next miracle, your next phenomena, your next visitation, the next ship in the sky is literally just a second away or a millisecond away. It's just about to happen, right? So do pay attention to your feelings and your gratitude. Because if you only ever turn up and go, oh, another day of no aliens, right? Then that's literally, you're going to negatively reinforce that. And any extraterrestrials watching you be like, there he goes, there's the no aliens guy. Better not show ourselves to him or her. So there's some tips. And that's exactly how I feel. Because it's not, the reality is it's also not just ships and extraterrestrial craft in the sky, right? There are beings, cloud beings, there are like aerial phenomena like lights, mists, clouds, fog, dragons, during the day and at night. And the list just goes on and on and on. So it sounds like we head straight on at the next roundabout. So yeah, this is just really powerful to feel into, right? And so if you don't have to go and buy a night vision camera to do any of this. And I haven't even touched on the psychic side yet, which I'll come on to in a moment. But I just wanted to make it clear that you don't need to buy anything. You don't need to. I'm just going to go in a circle and I'll let these guys that I'm stuck behind me, escape my speed. Because I bet if you're a local, it'll be really dull driving behind me. There they've gone. They've set them free. Mel Drum House, that looks very fancy. Yeah, so you don't need to buy anything, right? You just need your eyes, a sky, and look at it a lot. Remembering that not all extraterrestrials are up in the sky. They're on the ground. They're in our oceans. And yes, some look like humans, right? Or are disguised, or how to describe it? Thinly disguised. We got a hoodie on or something, as humans. And you'd be amazed, right? You can walk around the streets and not remember a single face that you've passed, right? And so, and somewhere between the kind of low-tech hoodie and some of their other cloaking technologies, extraterrestrials don't find that hard to walk among us. Shock, horror, there are aliens among us, like, absolutely. And the other thing to reflect on, and this came to me quite early on in my awakening journey, within the first couple of years, I realized that we are also the aliens. Our souls have incarnated as extraterrestrials prior to coming to Earth. Many of us. It feels like the majority of the human race has. So that kind of sometimes perceived as an exclusive club of starseeds, if you like, is not exclusive, right? It is. It's open to everyone, and it's not just one planet we've come from. It's many different ones. So just feel into this notion that this is a universe teeming with life. You have your own personal incarnations in other planets, and likely some of your DNA through your ancestry, your physical ancestry, does have extraterrestrial connections. And the extraterrestrials are everywhere. They're already here. We're already going through contact. I feel that's a great starting place to begin, and that it's exciting, right? It is. We're still a sovereign human race. We're not here to be taken over, and our extraterrestrial family, respect that, right? I'm not saying every extraterrestrial is perfect and that they're going to always completely listen to us or are perfect at fully understanding our free will. But do know that there are, councils of light like Palladian, Arcturian, Syrian, Andromedan, the list goes on, right? That between those groups and then also combinations, aggregations of these councils, including the federations, the Federation, the Galactic Federation or Galactic Federation of Lights. Like, we're all in this together. There's lots of different clubs and ways of these beings getting together. It's just know that it's a beautiful opportunity for us to open our hearts to this reality. It's real. They're real. They'll come to say hello with you the more you open yourself up. And it's quite funny. I was going to say, have I had physical contact with a extraterrestrial? Like, have they walked up to me in my garden? And this is really, really funny, right? Because I'm just like, this is quite powerful emotions behind this, so I'm just take a few moments to express it clearly. First of all, I remember UFO girlie Sarah saying she's had some encounters close up, like really close encounters, and it reminded me of being tested about how I feel if something was really close. So just last night, I'm stood in my garden filming the sky, and there I am asking for my extraterrestrial family to come and visit, all beings to have my highest good, love and compassion, to show themselves. And as they detect if you're going to be ready or not, I then heard something in my garden. Now my back garden, it's small and enclosed. And it's actually, even for small animals, even things like cats and stuff, it's very difficult for them to get in. And I'm not saying that this is categorical proof, even the feeling of it, that there is an extraterrestrial in my garden. However, increasingly, there's a pattern forming where whenever I'm in the garden and I'm filming, and it's only when I'm out asking to speak to my extraterrestrial, to see my extraterrestrial brothers and sisters, that something is in my garden, right? And it's close, like it's really close, like it's within, I would say, 3 meters of me. And that's close, right? And it's quite small and short, and it sounds like at the moment it's autumn into winter, and we have leaves, some leaves, not many, but some leaves around the edges of the garden, and there's something stood there walking around on the leaves. There's no light coming from it, and when I point my night vision camera at it, there's nothing there. And yet in this enclosed space, and it's not, I don't feel fear, and it's the funniest experience. I've described this as, there's no fear energy, there's no aggression coming from this being. It is much more about it feels like it's a being stood there, kind of making some shuffling noises with its feet, trying to make itself known to me, saying, "Jon, I'm here. Like, you asked, we came, right? You asked for an extraterrestrial. Well, guess what? Here's one." That's what it feels like. Now, I've not been amazingly good as a host yet. Like, I'm working on it, right? So it's happened a few times now, and I must admit, it's only now, when I'm reflecting back on the experience, that it feels very much like I'm being tested to check my physical responses to something being there. And so far each time, I've not screamed, I've not like run and gone, "Oh my God, it's an alien in my garden." You know, a bit better than that, not a lot better, but better. And I've just looked in the direction, and I've also spoken and said, "Hello, is there someone there?" And then just allowing the experience to happen. Instead, I've said hello, got a bit nervous, a bit scared, and then I've gone, it's not actually a bad place to park down there. Park overnight. We're quite near a garage. I don't think I'm that far away. Yeah, I'm about 20 minutes away from my destination. So, mentally, I was labeling it as, my best guess, a hedgehog. Because I know the neighbors' cats, and they really don't like being out at night. They're young and domesticated, and I just never see them out at night. And there's only 2 cats really that are close by. Could have been a cat, could have been a mouse, could have been a rat. But in this case, there's just, it seems oddly specific. Oh, excuse me, big yawn. Oddly specific that only when I ask to see my extraterrestrial brothers and sisters that I'm hearing a being stood there. And it never occurred to me to, I guess you'd term it as use your psychic abilities, but I don't really feel like I turn them on and off. It's more just like open myself up to. And then to somewhat bring this to a bit of an end, this video, I'd also highlight that I've been talking with extraterrestrial beings for for 8 years now. My spirit guides are extraterrestrials. I've been talking to them for 8 years. And when you're doing it every day in your meditation, it becomes really quite second nature, right? You just get very used to the fact that they're in the universe, they're like some of many, they're all from different, or thereabouts, extraterrestrial races. And you can ask them questions and get answers, and you can, enjoy building a relationship with them. And that it takes time, right? Like, we're always in such a rush. And so if you let it go, D in particular, if you've stuck around to end this video, well done. I just say that the time frames still feel right to me, and I only predicted them about a week ago. My last prediction was about a week ago. It's the spring, from the spring and summer of 2026, that we go through what I feel you're lightly terming as contact, in that there is a mass acknowledgement of extraterrestrial contact. Because contact's already happening at an individual level with us, and that these reach such volumes that it becomes just very matter of fact. You know, we're all part of a universe teeming with life. Fabulous. How exciting. Let's be good neighbors. Let's get to know each other and just enjoy, you know, building friendships. You know, these are extraterrestrials want friends too, right? And they want to be our friends, and they want to be our partners in supporting our ascension journeys in particular, and helping save the planet. They're not here to invade us. I mean, we kind of, in many respects, the human race is the invading species of Earth. So that kind of part's already happened. And many of these galactic beings share our DNA lineage. You know, they've had their own partnerships, friendships, marriages, and you know, programs, including DNA modification, integration, and breeding programs, that we're all really intertwined now. So we're really just, wow, I think that was an owl. Yeah, we're really just getting used to all this, right? Getting used to connecting with our extraterrestrial family. So I hope this finds you with an open heart and excitement, encouraging you to still continue to use your discernment. And don't listen to everyone on YouTube, right? Just start to build that for yourself. Do it for yourself. Because personally, I really enjoy these extraterrestrial contact. It has put my life in a whole new perspective, including how much I value my human experiences and how the differences, the giant differences in diversity we have in the life across this universe. And I don't have all the answers, right? I hope I'm describing my journey as transparently and as accurately as I can. Well, all I can say is that these are the things that have really helped me. And whenever I'm talking with my guides and clients' guides, and when I'm channeling the beings, you see me in these skywatching videos channeling psychically talking with the beings of the craft, and sometimes even the craft themselves, that this is a beautiful, magical time to be alive. This is the time where we're making contact, and this is a pivotal moment in not just Earth's history and not just the Milky Way's history, but the history of this universe. We are going through a pivotal ascension journey. So they're absolutely interested. There is tons of interest. So please do have a nice big open heart. Keep your eyes to the skies. And I will send you so much love from, what's this place called? Birken Hills. Wherever this is, and somewhere in northeast Scotland. Thank you so much. Take care. Sending my love, love, love.